Assalamu alaikum. I first and foremost, always, if you've known me at all, it's important that we always start with our intention. What are we here for? What are we doing? And so we want to first start with our intention is in the heart. The seed of intention is in the heart. But bi'idhnillah, by calling them out, we're able to grasp them and put them in our heart to expand this moment and to have the maximum benefit so that we walk away from this with as much barakah, as much khair as is possible. So we're here by the intention to expose ourselves to the mercy of Allah. We're here by the intention to expose our minds to the expansion of Allah. We're here by the intention to expose our souls to the transformation of Allah. We're here by the intention that we may get knowledge from our teachers and our scholars and our activists so that we can become better people, so that we can become a better ummah, so that we can actually act upon the Quran and the sunnah of the beloved messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. We're here by the intention to obey the commandment in the Quran, to enjoin the good and to forbid the evil. We're here by the intention to eradicate every evil, every darkness, every ignorance inside of our own selves and inside our families and inside our communities. We're here by the intention that we can be numbered amongst those who were truly Muslim. We're here by the intention that we can be amongst those who were believers, who were striving towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to walk away from hellfire and to walk towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with every fiber of our being. Allahumma ameen. I want to actually first start, Linda, when she walked in, may Allah bless her forever and noble her face, it was actually because of her. You know, it's because of the organizer that I spoke at the Women's March. So I don't want to ever forget, because sometimes we see those who are standing out front, but we forget those who have sacrificed and who struggled and who suffered in order for us to be teachers, in order for us to even have the opportunity to speak and to address the nations. Well, jazakumullahu khairan. As she sat down, she flipped her phone to something I wanted to remind you all of this morning, and that was of Erica Garner, who is the daughter of Eric Garner, passed away this morning. And subhanAllah, Donna Austin, as she posted it, and if you don't know Donna Austin, you should. She's actually one of our great professors as well as activists in this work. When she posted it, she said, one of the things I remembered most about her was that when she was standing with the FOI. How many of you know who the FOI are? Okay. FOI are called the Fruit of Islam. They're the brothers who go out and stand in any case, in any situation where the Nation of Islam is present. So Erica Garner, she actually went to, there was a protest, and she went to where FOI was standing. And she said, I just want to thank you. I just wanted to come over and I wanted to greet you because I wanted to say thank you for the level of support and compassion that you've shown my family. Not just during the time of my father's passing, but continuously. So anytime I see the FOI, I'm just honored to come up and want to greet you. I want to say to us, for those who are looking at the FOI of the Nation of Islam with any kind of a side eye, I want us to say, where were we in the passing of Eric Garner? Where were we? There was a alhamdulillah wa shukurillah when Brother Alton Sterling, when he passed away, when he was shot and when he was murdered, while just selling some CDs, there was a Muslim Yemeni brother, may Allah bless him forever, who actually stood up and said, no, despite the fact that you're trying to smear this man's character, this is a good man. This is an excellent father. This is a husband. But the level of backlash that Muslim brother suffered was horrendous. And since then, we have not seen another Muslim stand with that family. Where are we when that young boy, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but when Alton Sterling's son was weeping during the press conference, just crying out, my daddy, you took my daddy from me. We have to begin to look at it and say, if we as Muslims have the responsibility to enjoin the good, if we're talking about dawah, if we're talking about being woke, where are we in the comfort comfort in the lives of these people? Where are we when it comes to their level of their deep struggle? I'm not talking about the public struggle. I'm talking about when they go home and he doesn't have a father at his table. I'm talking about when his wife goes to bed and there's no one beside her and there's no man to protect her. Where are we then? See, the truth of Islam and the spirit of Islam, in all honesty, is not just about when we're standing at the rallies. It's about where are we when the cameras aren't watching. And so I want to talk about our concept. I've been charged with the responsibility. I don't want to go too far off because I know I get excited. I do. And so it'll be like 25 minutes past the time. Y'all need a timer in here, right? And so just nod your head, give me a wink, give me like a, time up, sis, so I'll know. So I've been charged with the responsibility to talk about how do we as a community go beyond being woke and actually embody the principles of equality and faith. And so this concept of being woke, right, it's actually a little funny to me personally. I thought about it, of course, you get up in the morning, you're like, before my feet hit the floor, what are my intentions for the day? And I'm like, oh yeah, talk about being woke, right? And so thinking about this concept, you could be woke and completely sleepy, right? You could be woke and still in the bed. You could be woke and watching TV. But it doesn't mean that when woke actually has to go beyond this, oh, I've got some enlightenment. Oh, I'm paying attention. But what good is your paying attention if we're not taking it to the people, right? If we're not benefiting anybody by us being woke. And so I want us to begin to think about how our Islam, how our faith has become a very selfish thing, right? Has become just about me, and I can say I'm woke, I'm conscious, I stand with Linda. Where? On Facebook? You stand with her behind your phone? You stand with her behind your computer screen? Where is she when she's getting death? Where are you when she's getting death threats? Right? And just real talk, right? And just Allah help us. So I actually want us to think about for a minute, and I mentioned this yesterday if you were in the main session, so forgive me if a little bit of this is repetitive, is that when we're looking at talking about addressing things from the outside of our community. I'm just gonna, Ieasha Noor did a beautiful job of laying out for you what are the problems that we are facing. So I kind of want to flip that a little bit and say, if we're charged with the responsibility of dealing with xenophobia and racism and ignorance and the following of the colonizer's mind, right? And a failed political engagement, and we're constantly dealing with these injustices, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, right, that He will never change the condition of a people until they change that which is within themselves, right? And so in looking at that, we have to begin to ask, Ya Allah, we've been dealing with the problem of injustice, of racism, of bigotry for a long time. Like, this isn't something new in our community. You're talking about 435 years of slavery, and then Reconstruction and sharecropping and all that came as a result of that, and then the civil rights movement, which isn't finished. We've got a long way to go. We've been talking about racism and bigotry. When I was a child, my parents would tell me stories about how my father was involved in the race riots, and how my grandmother was known, like people were afraid of her, right? And if you saw her, I just knew her as my grandmother, like she's so sweet and she'd make us cookies, right? And they would be like, oh no, you don't know her. Right? This is the woman who would walk into jails and policemen would shake. And when she would say, I'm not interested in any paperwork, you let them go. They would fumble with keys to open the doors. So we have to begin to say, what kind of power is that? What is it? What kind of strength is that? And without a shadow of a doubt, if we as Muslims don't have a connection to that kind of power, if we're not connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that says that we make kufr and injustice quiver, if it doesn't shake when we walk into a room, we're not connected. We're not connected. And that And it's just kind of like, there's a lot of electricity and power in the room, but unless I'm actually plugged into that power, I've got nothing coming, right? If your phone's gonna die, you've got nothing coming. And so looking at our internal condition, I want us to do these three things really quickly, bi'idhnillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us mind, body, and soul. Therefore, we have to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mind, body, and soul. And we have to be active in our change, mind, body, and soul. So first, looking at the mind is our belief. This is our framework, right? That Allah and His Messenger and our righteous ancestors, we've got to know our deen. You've got to be firm on your aqidah. You've got to know your fardul ayn. And this is just basic. I'm talking about just some of the basics. Most of us say, no, I believe in Allah and I believe in His messengers, but do you really know how to approach this work, right? And how did they approach this work? Because if not, we're going to make some fatal mistakes. And this is why Allah is saying, I'm not changing your condition. Not yet. So then looking at the body, what would be the body in this case? Yes, in terms of activism, but more importantly, do you know the statistics? Do you know the laws of the land? Right? The laws of the land in this case, that's what's going to arm you. That's what's going to give you the hands in order to take action. How many of us are real? That's something we're actually, and I'm not talking about you got to go to law school. I'm talking about you need to go back to Carter G. Woodson's book about the miseducation of the Negro and how important it is for you to know the law of the land. That if you don't know the law, we're not going to know where the loopholes were. In all honesty, this was actually some of the benefit of the laymen of the civil rights movement. This was the benefit actually of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and this was the benefit of the Black Panthers because they knew the law. Right? And they knew I can be active, I can address this problem, I can come forward to this level. And when you try to attack me, back up, because I've got knowledge of how to do this. Right? And then when we look at the soul of our community, this is important because without a shadow of a doubt, the level of racism and bigotry that we suffer on a rank, especially if you're a muhajjaba. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ennoble your rank and bless you forever, because our muhajjaba, they're on the front lines, right? Our brothers, may Allah bless them, many of them, especially, everybody's got a beard today, right? And I'm not saying don't take off your beard. Please don't do it, right? But in terms of the Muslim women who are choosing to go out every day with the decision that I'm going to do exactly as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ahzab, that basically so that she may be known, right? So that she may be known as a free and believing woman. The fact that she's saying I'm going out every day and I'm representing. Who am I representing? I'm representing Allah and His Messenger, and I'm representing my community. That comes with heavy price. I don't know if you know of Muslim women in New York. There's a woman in hijab. She's praying in the park. And a woman comes up to her and throws hot coffee in her face while she's making salah. There's another sister walking with her baby in the baby stroller. And another woman is so enraged with hatred. She actually walks up to her and flips over the baby stroller with the baby in it. Right? These are people who are enraged with their hate. And subhanAllah, did that woman take off her hijab? No, she decided tomorrow I'm going out dressed the same as I was today. Right? So even that, subhanAllah. But what is your spiritual diet? What are you studying on a regular basis? How are you connected to Allah's book? How are you connected to the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And I'm talking about every day. Because you eat every day. Don't you eat every day? 3 times a day? What's your spiritual diet? How are you? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's your strength to look at him and say, you face this. You face this. When they were plotting to kill you every day, you face this. So drawing strength from that. Many of us maybe I go to the khutbah on Friday and you have sleep in the khutbah. Tell the truth. you half sleep, and so I made my I made my 5, right? But what's your spiritual diet? What does your religiosity look like? And if you think that it's okay, I'm spiritual but I'm not religious, then you don't understand this deen. That's like having a garden without a fence, right? It's like if you got all this spirituality but it's not guided by the Quran and the Sunnah, if you don't have religiosity, you've got no deen. And your spirituality, in all honesty, is like hocus pocus. Imam al-Ghazali, he said that fiqh without tazkiyah, or the purification of the heart, is exercise, right? And spirituality without fiqh is a waste of time. So if we're thinking like, I'm spiritual. No, you're just emotional. And you don't know it yet. Right? Because when you have true spirituality, it keeps you consistent with your religiosity. It keeps you consistent in going back to the source. What's your vitamins? What's your boosters? Right? What are your boosters? Like I've got my, and if you're missing salawat, right? If you're missing your daily 5 and you're missing your recitation of Quran in the morning and you're missing, what's your, you've already got serious holes. So what's your vitamins? What's your sunnah to support that? Right? To support the diet. What are not just your sunnah prayers, because that's just for you. What are your sunnah activities in terms of serving the poor? Did you know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, I love the poor. I love them. When we looked at where were Ahl Sifat, where were the homeless people during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where could you find the homeless people? On his porch. That when Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I won't go through the story because it's a long story, when he was so hungry that he started to hallucinate, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, come with me, I know what you need. Right? He passed by other Sahaba and they were like, I don't know what you're going through, Abu Hurairah, I don't understand. Right? But when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw him, he said, I know what that is. I can relate. I understand your problem. So he said, come with me. So he came to him, he went to his own house, and he asked his family, do we have anything to eat? And they said, La ya Rasulullah, we don't have anything to eat. But somebody did send some milk. Right? Can you imagine? How many of you go home and you're like, Mama, what we got to eat? What we gonna eat? You ask your wife, what's to eat? What's for eat? Nothing, but somebody sent some milk. So they brought him a cup of milk. And so before he gives the milk to Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, Call Ahl Sifat. And Abu Hurairah was like, yo, I knew he was going to say that. Right? I knew he was going to say, bring them. And so he calls them, and it's about 70 of them. Can you imagine 70 homeless people show up to your door and want some food? I want you to think about the stench of homeless people. I want you to think about the desperation on the looks of people who are that poor. Most of us, when we pass by them, we're trying to hold our nose. We're trying to step a little bit to the side, make sure they don't touch us. Right? But he's calling them. And whatever little bit he has, he's giving it to them. He's sharing it with them. Once one of them walked into the halaqah, and the companion sitting beside Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gathered his clothes because he didn't want his stench. He didn't want him to touch his clothes. And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he looked at him with a look of disdain. And he said, are you afraid that you will catch what he has? Are you afraid his poverty is contagious? And so the poor man, he said, Ya Rasulullah, don't worry. I'm afraid I'll catch what he has. What is he afraid of? I'm afraid I'm going to catch his arrogance, his haughtiness, his forgetfulness of the people, his forgetfulness of what's real. Allahumma salli wa sallam alayhi. Lastly, what's your spiritual medicine? Because we all run into problems. We all run into doubt. We all run into burnout. We all run into, I don't know what I can do. I don't know how to help. I don't know. We all run into depression. Yes, we all run into depression. Oh, what you said, oh my God, the Muslims, they don't get depressed. Stop it. The Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he had a year of sorrow. He had a year of burnout. A year. Where he's like, I don't hear the angel Jibreel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not giving me any revelation. I'm in poverty and all of my people are in poverty. We are all refugees on this mountain together. And they're relying on me and I don't have a solution for them, and I'm watching my own wife and children wither away. And then Khadija passes away. The level of helplessness that he felt. And he had a year of sorrow. What helps you get out the bed when you have those moments of sadness? What helps you get out the bed when you have depression? What helps you get out the bed when you're like, I don't have an answer? What helps you get out the bed when you're just like, I'm so mad. I have all of this rage inside me about what's happening. Sometimes in my own family or in my own community, I have all of this rage, but I've got nowhere to put it. Do you sign up for ISIS? Because that's what some people are doing. May Allah help and protect us. Because they're saying, where are the people who are doing the change? May Allah save and protect us. Because trust me, for all those, my agents and on the camera who are listening, that's not the way. Let me make that very clear. So what do? What's your spiritual medicine? You can't get in this work. You can't join this fight unless you've got some consistent spiritual medicine. And yes, when they talk about the next session, they're going to talk about resist, right? The stigma of needing assistance, of needing therapy and counseling. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Abu Bakr for counseling, right? That I need counseling, I need help, I need Muslim support, I need other Muslims who are in this struggle, I need somebody to talk to, I need a support group, especially if you're a convert and you can't even come to your family and talk to them about this issue. And I don't even want to address racism, like when she said you're on the front lines fighting racism and even if you got one black friend. I don't even want to discuss it until you've got black people and Mexicans, right, and Latinos at your iftar in Ramadan. Until they're a part of your Eid celebrations. Not you see them at the masjid and you wave at them from afar, but they're actually, because many of them who are converts and who've left their family holidays and who've distanced themselves to some degree to join this deen, they're very lonely and they're very sad on the day of Eid. Right? Because they said, I've got nobody to connect to. I've got nobody to share this supposed joy and this Eid with. So where are they at your tables? And when you invite them, are you serving biryani or kebab? Or did you invite them to some barbecue chicken and some mac and cheese and some yams and some greens? Because that's what I eat. It's different when do you think about them truly? Are they truly included? And so I'm just going to end there, right? I'm not, in terms of, we've got to go beyond protesting and we've got to start establishing. We've got to start establishing in our own home, first in our own selves. Uproot the bigotry from your own heart, right? I even hear Muslim families who have halakas and who have great things at their home talk bad about Mexicans, right? I've heard even civil rights leaders in our community, their daughter was in the store and was looking at a doll and she picked up the black doll and literally must have said, what do you want a black doll for? What? So in talking, resist first within yourselves. First within yourselves, right? First within ourselves, in our own families. And when it comes to the masjid, is our masjid diverse and inclusive? And what are we doing consistently and I'm talking about speaking to the board and speaking to the community and fooling it and inviting them. Don't just go out to them and serve them food, but you don't invite them to your house. Don't just go clean up their communities, but the Latinos don't get invited to the masjid. Come on, y'all, come on. It's time to get better. This is too long. We're talking about 100 years in this struggle. We know better than this. We have a better tradition than this. We're more hospitable than this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us true people who resist bigotry so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us the assistance and open the doors of His mercy, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us victory. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ.